You guys wanted us to dig into Ninja 1987.
Nice.
Yeah, should have some good stuff. And basically, think like classic Ninja Gaiden, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But with some modern twists.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah, so the reviewer calls it Ninja Gaiden from Wish, which, you know,
Okay, so
makes you wonder.
that's the bar a little bit.
Right, like what makes this the Wish version?
Right, exactly.
So let's break it down. You know, the gameplay apparently is pretty solid.
Okay.
You've got your, you know, your sword, your shurikens.
Right, the classic stuff.
Like all the ninja moves, but there's this dash attack that uses a meter that you have to like refill.
Okay.
So that sounds like it could be kind of interesting.
Like, strategically or?
Yeah, like strategically, like how do you use it?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
When do you use it?
Yeah.
And then another thing, you know, instead of lives, you lose points from your score.
Oh,
When you die.
that's a different take on it.
Yeah. So that's going to change how you play the game, right? Do
Definitely.
you play it safe to keep your score high?
Right.
Or do you just go for it and risk it all?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like risk versus reward kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And it's giving me almost like an arcade vibe,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
where it's like you're chasing that high score.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
So score chasing ninja action. We got that down.
Yes.
What about the visuals and the audio? I bet they went all out on the 8-bit stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They did not disappoint. The visuals are like straight out of the NES.
Awesome.
Like each mission has its own color scheme and theme.
Very cool.
And there's decent enemy variety, you know.
Okay.
Although you do see some of the same enemies pop up later in the game.
Ah, the classic
Yeah.
reused sprites.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But overall, the visuals definitely deliver on that retro feel.
Okay, I love it. What about the music?
So this is where things get interesting. The reviewer said it was far from a classic. Which is kind of surprising considering like those old NES soundtracks are so iconic.
Right, like you think they would have nailed that if they were going for the retro thing.
You would think, right?
Yeah,
So it makes you wonder, like, was it intentional or did they just totally miss the mark?
interesting.
Like, think about what makes those classic 8-bit soundtracks so memorable. It's not just the, you know, bleeps and bloops.
Right.
It's about creating an atmosphere and emotion with very limited technology.
Yeah.
So did Ninja 1987's music try to do something different or did it just fall short?
It's a good question.
It's something to consider when you're listening to the soundtrack.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll add that to the list of things to check out.
Sure.
Okay, so what about the boss battles? Are they epic? Are they a letdown?
So the reviewer said they're fun, but too easy.
Oh.
They said they lack that real challenge that you'd expect from, you know, classic ninja game.
Do you think maybe they did that on purpose to make it more accessible, maybe?
Possibly. You know, maybe they were trying to reach a wider audience by making the bosses a little less punishing.
Right.
Or maybe they wanted to keep the focus on that score chasing aspect rather than, you know, these intense boss battles.
That's true. It's true.
It's a good question to think about.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, if the classic games were known for their difficulty, you know,
Right.
is it still a true retro experience if it's too easy?
That's the question.
That's the question. So we got to figure this out.
We'll have to see how this whole easy boss situation plays out.
Exactly. Okay, so we got the solid gameplay,
Yeah.
the maybe questionable music choices,
Yeah.
and the potentially too easy bosses.
Uh-huh.
What else is going on here?
Well, there's one more thing we need to talk about.
Oh.
And it's kind of a big one.
Oh, no.
Technical issue.
Oh, no, that's never good.
No, not really.
Especially in a retro game where they're trying to, like, you know, recapture that old school feel, and then there's glitches. It's like, come on.
Yeah. It kind of breaks the illusion a little bit.
Yeah. So what kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, the reviewer mentioned this recurring problem with clipping through invisible pixels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently it seems to be triggered by the wall climbing and the dash attack. And sometimes you can fix it by pausing and unpausing,
Okay.
but other times you have to reset the whole game.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, it sounds pretty frustrating.
Especially in, like, a fast-paced action game.
Exactly. And you're in the zone, you're you know, platforming, and then bam.
You fall through the world.
Exactly. It really breaks the flow.
Yeah, so is it like a common problem or is it just like a once-in-a-while thing?
It sounds like it happens enough to be noticeable because the reviewer was pretty blunt about it. They said the game clearly skipped QA.
Ouch.
Yeah, not exactly a glowing review.
No, not at all. So it's like, okay, we've got fun gameplay,
Right.
questionable music, potentially too easy bosses.
Yeah.
And some technical hiccups.
It's a mixed bag so far.
Yeah, it really is.
But before we jump to any conclusions, let's dig a little deeper into what the reviewer liked about Ninja 1987.
Okay, so there were some positives.
Oh yeah, they had some good things to say, especially about the controls.
Okay.
And the potential for a perfect gamer score.
Wait, hold on. Gamer score. Why would that even matter in a retro game?
That's a great question. And it really speaks to how modern gaming sensibilities have kind of crept into even these retro-inspired titles.
Yeah, I guess.
Like for some players, getting a perfect gamer score, it's like a badge of honor. You know?
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. It's a way to show that you've mastered the game.
So even in a game that's designed to feel like it's from the past,
Yeah.
you still have that element of modern achievement hunting.
It's interesting how those two worlds collide.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. But okay, back to the review. So they like the controls and the gamer score. What else?
They also praise the tight controls, which is super important for a game like this.
Oh yeah, for sure. You need that responsiveness,
The
to
control.
nail those jumps and attacks.
Exactly. Clunky controls can totally ruin a retro game experience.
Oh, yeah, totally. And it sounds like this one at least gets that part right.
It seems like they do.
Okay. So it's like, we have potential here.
Right.
Solid gameplay, tight controls, potential for a perfect gamer score. But those technical glitches and the maybe too easy bosses are giving me pause.
Yeah. And don't forget about that Far From Classic soundtrack.
Ugh, right? Like, that's a big question mark hanging over the whole thing.
It is.
So is this Ninja Gaiden from Wish something we should check out?
Yeah.
Or should we just stick to the classics?
That's the big question.
Guess we gotta keep digging.
Let's find out.
Let's do it.
This whole thing, it really makes you think about like what we expect from these retro games, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Like, are we looking for that perfect, pixel perfect recreation of the past, warts and all?
Yeah, like, do we want the frustration of being stuck on a level for like hours?
Yeah, exactly. Or do we want something more modern?
Right? Is it even possible to capture that old school feel without, sacrificing some modern conveniences?
I don't know. It's a tough balance for developers to strike. Like, they want to tap into that nostalgia,
Yeah.
but they gotta, appeal to a modern audience that maybe doesn't have the patience for some of those old school design choices.
And you brought up gamer score earlier. That wasn't even a thing back in the day.
No.
So are we like ruining the retro experience by bringing in these modern expectations?
It's a good point. I think maybe there are two types of retro gamers,
Okay.
The ones who want the authentic experience,
Yeah.
and the ones who want a modern take on the classics.
Right. And maybe it's not about ruining the experience, but just appreciating it in different ways.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Like some people, they love the challenge of a perfect gamer score.
Right.
And others just want to, relax and enjoy that nostalgia trip.
Yeah, it's all about finding what works for you as a player. Some games might lean more into the authenticity.
Yeah.
And others might focus on accessibility and, modern features.
And that's what's so cool about gaming now,
Yeah.
There's just so much variety.
So many options.
You can find anything you want.
Yeah, you can get those pixel perfect remakes, or you can get something that just borrows a few elements from the classics.
Exactly. So where does Ninja 1987 fit into all of this?
Well, based on the review, it
Yeah.
sounds like they're trying to walk that line.
Okay.
You've got those 8-bit visuals,
Yeah.
the familiar gameplay, the score chasing,
Yeah.
which kind of takes us back to the arcade days.
Yeah.
Then you've got the modern stuff like the gamer score.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those technical issues...
Right. Those definitely weren't part of the classic experience.
No, not at all. So it's kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
It might appeal to some players, but others might be left wanting more.
I think that Ninja Gaiden from Wish description is pretty accurate.
Yeah, it sets a certain expectation.